Taya Baker. I'm here to talk to you about one misconception in physics. Heavier objects fall faster than lighter ones. We all know, debunked long ago by Galileo, he discovered that heavier objects fall faster than lighter objects. As we do a demonstration of a balled up piece of paper versus a regular sheet of paper, we're going to see the effect. We see that the balled up piece of paper landed quickly. The problem comes from not being able to identify another force involved, which is air resistance. All objects moving through air and falling objects experience air resistance. This force is proportional to the area of the object and the direction of motion. And that's all for heavier objects fall faster than lighter ones.
Hi, I'm Kayla Tate, and another most common misconception in physics is that an object is harder to push because it is heavy. This is actually because of mass or inertia. Mass is resistance to change motion rather than motion itself. Here's a demo. But as you can see, both of these were very easy to move. Hello, my name is Milan Mason, and I am here to talk about another one of physics' most common misconceptions. This is that everything that moves will eventually come to a stop. Rest is a natural state of all objects. This is one of the most common misconceptions in physics. Aristotle even included this in one of his most famous contributions, but in the present we know that this is wrong. We know this because Newton's first law tells us that everything that is in motion stays in motion and everything that is at rest stays at rest, unless it is acted on by eternal force. The reason why this is a common misconception is because we aren't able to identify the force that actually stops all the motion, and in which that is friction. Friction is a force that it acts between two objects that are moving in relative to each other. Like something that's on top of the floor and the floor is here and it's acting in between that, so friction stops it. Hello, we are back to give you an in-depth explanation of what physics is.
Physics is the branch of science concerned with nature and properties of matter and energy, such as the fact that matter and energy are equivalent to each other. Energy can take the form of motion, light, electricity, radiation, gravity, and other sources.
Physics is the study of matter, energy, and the interaction between them. Physics is about asking fundamental questions and trying to answer them by observing and experimenting. Physics involves the study of motion, space, and time. The main goal of physics is to see how the universe behaves. We are back to talk about more misconceptions in physics, and one misconception is that there is no gravity in outer space. That's not true. There's gravity in outer space. It's just weaker than what we experience on Earth. Astronauts that orbit the Earth don't experience gravity because they are free-falling. All satellites, including the moon and the planets, are in a consistent state of free fall. When something is in free fall, it becomes weightless.
This is Taya Baker, and I'm reporting to you live to tell you about another misconception that we found. Planets move in circular orbits around the sun. Planets move in elliptical orbits around the sun. Misconceptions deals with our seasons. Some might wrongly come to the conclusion that Earth's proximity to the sun dictates the seasons is when Earth is closer to the sun and winter is when it's farther away. But that's not entirely true. In reality, our seasons are caused by the tilt of Earth's.
Also, the misconception that a continuous force is needed for continuous motion. But it's actually because of friction. An object cannot move without frictional force. The force used to push an object is the only counteract for the friction.